We are kicking off with WWE, and the announcement of Lex Luger's Hall of Fame induction has already proven to be huge, but the question now is who will have the honor of inducting him? One of the most popular names is Luger's friend and former tag team partner Sting, and according to Eric Bischoff, WWE would have no issue making that happen. During a live reaction video to Luger's Hall of Fame announcement, Bischoff was asked about Sting, and he said that not only would WWE allow the AEW star, but they'd welcome it. Bischoff also took a shot at the idea that WWE would hold a grudge against AEW stars, dismissing the online narrative that WWE would block Sting just because he's on an AEW contract. With WrestleMania weekend around the corner, the Hall of Fame ceremony is already shaping up to be one for the ages, with Luger, Triple H, and Michelle McCool already confirmed. Would Sting be the perfect choice to induct Lex, or should someone else step up and do the honor? Sound off in the comments section below. It was just over a week ago that John Cena shocked the world by turning heel, and the WWE icon's villain arc has continued on social media. On Instagram, Cena shared an image of Darth Vader, and while he didn't provide a caption, as usual, many saw it as a nod to Cena's turn to the dark side. After all, before he was Darth Vader, he was Anakin Skywalker, one of the heroes of the Jedi before becoming a Sith Lord under the guidance of an evil individual. Cena has yet to explain his actions, but fans are hoping for some kind of explanation from John when he makes his return to TV during the March 17th edition of Monday Night Raw. John Cena vs. Cody Rhodes is set to be a massive feud heading into WrestleMania 41, and John hopes to win his 17th world title, albeit after a heel turn fans thought they'd never see. Now, Karrion Kross has established himself as a regular on WWE programming over the past year, but fans could be set to see a major change for the former NXT champion. On Twitter, Kross posted a video of himself sitting in front of a static TV screen, and it appears that his long hair may have been cut short. Not only has Kross potentially gone back to one of his older looks, but in his caption, he told fans, "I know what you all want. I read it every week for over 2 years." Kross told fans, "You will have him," and what many are seeing is a tease of a character change, potentially to an older version of the former NXT champion. Kross's tweet also hyped up the Chris Bay benefit show he'll be a part of on March 23rd, where funds will be raised for the TNA star who suffered a serious neck injury in October of last year. Do you like Karrion Kross's current direction in WWE? Are you excited at the prospect of a change for Kross? Share your thoughts and feedback in the comments section below. Over to AEW, as Swerve Strickland and Prince Nana have become one of the most popular duos in the promotion, and their partnership first began in April 2023. The partnership came about when Swerve's faction, Mogul Affiliates, merged with Nana's long-standing group, the Embassy, forming the Mogul Embassy. The group remained intact for a time before all members except Swerve departed, but their partnership has been tested like never before in their feud with Ricochet. At AEW Revolution, Strickland faced Ricochet in a high-stakes match with a future world title shot and ownership of Nana's iconic Embassy jacket on the line. In a critical moment, Strickland lost his temper at ringside, and when Nana stepped in to calm Swerve aside, he was shoved aside by the former AEW World Champion. Strickland realized his mistake and quickly apologized, but Nana was unimpressed, and later in the match, Nana flipped off his ally before walking out on him. This left Swerve without anyone in his corner for the majority of the match, forcing him to battle Ricochet alone while also dealing with the concerns of his fractured relationship with Nana. In a less emotionally driven point of the match, Kim Jeong, the star of Community, The Hangover, and other projects, was seen at ringside and talked some trash with Ricochet. Jeong seemed to be ready to throw down with the one and only there and then, but Ricochet turned his attention back to Strickland in the ring. Despite the situation with Nana, Strickland earned the win over Ricochet, putting Swerve in line for a future opportunity to regain the AEW World Championship. Was this the right result, or would you rather have seen Ricochet get the win? What do you think is next for Prince Nana and Swerve Strickland's alliance? Let us know down in the comments. Over 5 years after Maxwell Jacob Friedman and Hangman Adam Page last faced each other in singles competition in an AEW ring, the pair battled in LA as part of Revolution. The stakes couldn't have been higher as they clashed in the opening match of AEW Revolution, and while both men left the battle bloodied and bruised, it was Page who stood tall as the victor. Throughout the match, MJF suffered a small cut on his forehead, while Page accumulated a series of bruises and welts on his back and shoulders after a collision with the steel steps. The LA crowd hung onto every near fall, as well as when MJF hoisted Page up for a devastating tombstone piledriver onto a steel chair at ringside. Page was motionless as the ref continued to count and was lifeless at 8, began to stir at 9, and was able to slide back into the ring just before the 10 count. An irate MJF grabbed Page and yelled, "Why you and not me?" as well as asking, "What's so special about you?" clearly angry at the connection Page has made with others. A furious MJF attempted to finish Page with a heat seeker, but the tide turned as Page countered the move into a deadeye, much to the delight of the crowd. Page followed up by driving MJF's face into the mat with Angel's Wings, a tribute to Christopher Daniels, before delivering his signature buckshot lariat to secure the pinfall victory. With this win, Page avenged Daniels, who had been brutally attacked by MJF on the February 26th episode of Dynamite, and we'll have to see where both go from here. Video footage from AEW Revolution has revealed that some fans were escorted from their seats and kicked out of the arena, bringing their time at the event to an abrupt end. This appears to have been due to improper decorum, and Denise Salcido of Instinct Culture, who was present, confirmed that fans in the front row were escorted out by security. This transpired during the second match of the night, which saw Mercedes Moné battle Momo Watanabe, and Salcido speculated the fans may have had too much to drink. Staff were seen cleaning the area, and the entire row was seemingly cleared out by staff before two specific fans were escorted away. These two fans may be the perpetrators, while the others might be those unintentionally caught up in the situation, but other than this, the crowd was red hot for AEW Revolution. Toni Storm and Mariah May promised a Hollywood ending, and in the City of Angels, they delivered exactly that with their near year-long rivalry culminating in a brutal battle. The champion and challenger tore into each other with steel chairs, tables, ring steps, glass, and the shoe that had started off their feud. Using a champagne bottle as a weapon felt narratively justified, given that it has been a recurring element of their feud and an example of smart storytelling in the women's division. These callbacks to their history, which included Storm whipping May with the championship belt, enhanced the emotional weight of the match, keeping fans engaged throughout. There was an unfortunate botch when May slipped during a dropkick to Luther on the stage, seemingly injuring her back, but the former champion was able to battle through it. In the finish, Storm used the shoe as a weapon before driving May through a Hollywood-inspired table with a Storm Zero for the hard-earned and emotional victory. As Storm lay draped over her fallen opponent, the end appeared on the video screen to a roaring ovation, ending arguably the best women's feud AEW has ever seen. This match was everything it needed to be, a fitting conclusion to an intensely personal feud with violence that felt earned, unlike some recent hardcore matches in AEW. This was a brilliantly executed bout that blended storytelling, emotion, and action, making it a legitimate match of the year contender and one of the best bouts from both women. Kenny Omega returned to AEW pay-per-view for the first time since 2023 in a grueling match against Konosuke Takeshita, winning the international title in a match of the year contender. Takeshita targeted Omega's midsection, a weak point for Omega following his battle with diverticulitis, which forced the former AEW World Champion to wrestle strategically. Despite the relentless attack, Omega outmaneuvered his opponent and secured the victory in his first taste of gold since returning to the ring. This was a masterfully wrestled match, marking a triumphant return for Omega, while further proving that Takeshita is an extraordinary talent and one to watch. With repeated standout performances against AEW's best, it's time to push him to the very top, as Takeshita's potential as a future main eventer is undeniable. The student versus teacher rivalry between Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher reached its most violent chapter inside a steel cage at AEW Revolution, where Ospreay was able to get the win. The match was a blood-soaked war of attrition featuring barbed wire, screwdrivers, Ospreay hitting a Styles Clash onto thumbtacks, and a breathtaking Spanish fly from the top of the cage. A particularly nasty-looking brainbuster onto a steel chair bent the chair the wrong way, yet still only resulted in a 2 count. In the end, Ospreay put Fletcher away with a final hidden blade, followed by the devastating Tiger Driver 91 to secure the victory. Despite losing, this match elevated Fletcher as a star while testing Ospreay's willingness to embrace brutality, but now it's time for both men to move on to fresh storylines. Jon Moxley retained the AEW World Championship in the AEW Revolution main event against Cope, but the match itself fell flat in the closing spot of the card. The bout was slow and methodical, failing to engage the crowd until its latter half, and despite the intense brawling in the build-up, the match itself was surprisingly low-key. There was only minimal weapon use in the form of exposed concrete and ring steps for most of the runtime, and the crowd only came alive after a ref bump led to Wheeler Yuta interfering. Jay White made the save and introduced steel chairs into the mix, and while Cope's spears and a potential title change created excitement, the finish left fans feeling deflated. The finish in question saw Christian Cage attempt to cash in his guaranteed title shot, only to be choked out by Moxley, who retained to audible groans from the audience. Swerve Strickland somewhat salvaged the moment, ambushing Moxley with a double stomp from the stands, setting himself up as the next challenger. On a show where close to everything else hit, this was a tone-deaf main event that realistically should have swapped places on the card with Storm vs. May. Had that happened, then this would have been more palatable, rather than being an underwhelming conclusion to a show that was edging toward all-time great status. During the AEW Revolution 0-hour show, Chris Jericho was scheduled to defend the ROH World Championship against Gravity, but things never got started. Before the bell could ring, Jericho ambushed Gravity with his bat, and Brian Keith and Big Bill jumped in to turn this into a 3-on-1 beatdown. Bandito rushed in to even the odds, but the numbers proved too much, and after handling Bandito, Jericho did the ultimate sign of disrespect and ripped off Gravity's mask. As Keith and Bill restrained Bandito, Jericho held up Gravity's mask like a trophy, and though Gravity's family would get in the ring, Jericho had already made his point and left. Jericho kept his title and delivered the ultimate act of humiliation to Gravity, and after this, Gravity and Bandito will be hungry for revenge on the learning tree. Video game news: as the Bloodline and Deadman editions of WWE 2K25 have been released, giving fans their first taste of the latest game in the 2K franchise. Unfortunately, with these being early days for the game, glitches are being found by fans who have taken to social media to share these issues with the game. One glitch includes Santos Escobar's character model leaving his feet in the corner of the ring, which would certainly be an interesting tactic in a Royal Rumble match. Another glitch saw Cody Rhodes float through the WrestleMania 40 stage during his entrance, while one fan saw Pat McAfee and Rikishi fuse together during an Elimination Chamber match. With the game only recently releasing, 2K's team will no doubt provide updates to overcome these glitches, which has been the case in previous WWE video games. Nevertheless, this isn't the best of starts for 2K25, as fans have been more than eager to share these embarrassing production errors on social media. Indi Hartwell is a free agent now that her non-compete clause has expired, and the ex-WWE superstar is wasting no time in winning gold. At Renegades of Wrestling's latest tapings, Hartwell returned to action and won the Women's Championship from Aisha, ending a reign that had surpassed 700 days. This was an especially monumental win for Hartwell, who was able to compete in her native Melbourne for the first time in 6 years, and this win was her first match post-WWE. Hartwell's exit from WWE announced in November of 2024, but due to SmackDown being taped in advance, she appeared on the Blue brand after news of her release. The question now is, what was next for Hartwell, who will make her House of Glory debut this month and has shown interest in teaming with TNA's Steph DeLander. Whatever's next, Hartwell's post-WWE career is off to a strong start as the popular wrestler is proving her skills inside the squared circle. Now, Wardlow has been off AEW TV for nearly a year, but this week rumors sparked that he could be returning to programming very soon. Ahead of AEW Revolution, Wardlow was spotted in Los Angeles, the same city hosting the pay-per-view, which led to speculation of an appearance. Fightful Sean Ross Sapp then reported that sources had not said he was backstage, but added that it wouldn't be surprising if he was. Whether Wardlow was backstage or not, he didn't appear at Revolution, and this Thursday, March 13th, will mark 1 year since his most recent match for the company. Sources have repeatedly stated that Wardlow has been recovering from an injury, and in the latest update, it was said that he was in LA working on another unspecified project. Wardlow was once considered by some a future top name in AEW, but his year-long hiatus has quashed those hopes, and fans continue to await the return of the former TNT champion. Since launching in 2019, AEW has continued to add more and more shows to its annual schedule, with the pay-per-view calendar growing past the 4 original events. Now it appears that a new special event is in the works, as on March 7th, the company filed a trademark for AEW Spring Breakthrough, which could be the name of a beach-themed show. It's believed by fans that this will be the name of a special for its weekly shows, similar to Winter is Coming, Fight for the Fallen, Grand Slam, and others. At this time, AEW has yet to address AEW Spring Breakthrough, but fans can expect that name to be used on programming soon enough. Mercedes Moné faced her toughest challenge yet as TBS champion at AEW Revolution, narrowly escaping Momo Watanabe's relentless barrage of kicks to retain the title. Late in the grueling back-and-forth match, Watanabe unleashed a kick that caught Moné square on the chin, momentarily stunning the CEO, but the champ was able to prove her resilience. Capitalizing on a rare misstep by Watanabe, Moné delivered the moneymaker before locking in the bank statement, forcing her challenger to tap out. It wasn't always a smooth contest, as some moments felt disjointed, as if the competitors weren't fully in sync, but they managed to recover and win the crowd over by the finish. Though known in AEW for his role in a trio, Brody King has consistently risen to the occasion in high-profile singles matches, and AEW Revolution proved to be no exception. At the pay-per-view, King battled Kazuchika Okada for the AEW Continental Championship, and despite a valiant effort, it wasn't enough to dethrone the Rainmaker. King gave Okada a punishing fight with his relentless offense, forcing the champion onto the defensive early into the contest, and left Okada bruised and welted from the physicality. When Okada encountered with underhanded tactics, including smashing King in the face with the title belt, that still wasn't enough to get the win, as King managed to kick out at 2. Eventually, Okada sealed the victory with the Rainmaker, keeping King down for good and seemingly putting the Hellhounds behind him. While the match struggled to fully engage the crowd after the Electric Swerve vs. Ricochet showdown, King's early dominance was a highlight and something AEW should capitalize on. Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin successfully defended their AEW World Tag Team titles against the Outrunners in an admittedly unmemorable match. At times it felt rushed, with both teams struggling to stay on the same page, leading to mistimed spots and an overall disjointed flow before the champs won as expected. One could argue that this match would have been better served as a quick squash, showcasing Lashley and Benjamin's dominance rather than dragging things out. Unfortunately, it was a clash of styles that resulted in a lackluster performance for both teams and a bad night at the office for the champions and challengers. On the 0 Hour show, Hologram and Commander defeated Blake Christian and Lee Johnson in a match that was able to get the fans into the action and set the bar for the rest of the night. Daniel Garcia and Undisputed Kingdom defeated Shane Taylor Promotions, but a stare down between Garcia and Cole closed things out by teasing a future TNT title feud. Orange Cassidy, Big Boom AJ, and Mark Briscoe defeated the M&M Collection and Johnny TV, and Righteous Gemstone stars Adam Devine and Tony Cavallero delivered a chokeslam to Mansoor post-match. And that was AEW Revolution. And what did you make of the pay-per-view? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section